Welcome back, Spud. How's the farm?
Yeah, grand, Tommy. I only have one war wound. Oh, no, I'm not going to show the camera because we put the thing on YouTube. I've a bit of my knuckle. It's kind of missing, but like other than that, grand, yeah, great time down there.
Losing a bit of body parts. It's fine. It was good. It was great.
Yeah. Other than a little bit of my left hand, it's the one that I use for
cooking.
Something. Writing, I was supposed to say. The thing you do with the pen. And,
the pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah, Sky, come here. A couple of weeks ago, that was the last time we done, and I had my notes here already, and we never spoke about it. And so, your album, come on.
Yeah.
Tell me all.
That's old news now, man.
Isn't it mad that like you can work on a piece of music and it's however many tracks long and you pour all your heart and soul into it, but then it's done and the people are like, oh yeah, well, what's next? Shut the fuck! Do you realise how hard I worked on that?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I suppose I do understand it once. It's because I don't know. We still, I suppose, have a singles mentality rather than an albums mentality when it comes to music. That you're expecting the new song every 3 months or whatever it is. But I don't know. Yeah, no, it's an interesting. But it's the same with comics. It's the same with a book. It's the same with any, unless it actually gets popular, you know, and it starts having a life of its own. But like, I'd say 99.9% of albums have an excitement of a day or less, you know, for people. Like it's like a sad yeah, but no, it went really well and people seem to really like it, and that was great. I'm going to do a video this week. I keep saying I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it this week, just going through it a bit on what was the idea behind it and all that kind of stuff. So
you're going to reveal what it is?
Well, you see, that's the thing, because there's part of me wants to do that in that, you know, I want to explain it, because it's like, unless I explain it, people won't know. But another part of me wants, I don't want to explain it, because then you're taking away whatever it is people thought it was. You know, it's like, if you think the song U2 One is about, I don't know, a dad or son telling his dad that he's gay or he's AIDS, whatever it is, and then Bono goes, it's actually just, you know, rubbish. It doesn't mean anything.
Just like comedy goop.
Or Noel Gallagher said that Wonderwall, it's just, you know, it's not about anything. It's just a load of words put together that sound nice. Absolutely. And you go, oh, right, thanks. I got married to that song, you know, whatever it is. I didn't personally. I got married to the Biffy Clyro song.
I remember our first wedding song was Jackson 5's I Want You Back. And Aga's sister was like, but that's about a breakup song. We're like, I don't care, it's a cool song. You know, it sounds nice. So no, I get that, because like I'm not a person that I don't look up many meanings of songs, because it might ruin the meaning I have for the song. You know what I mean? Like, other than say, okay, Pearl Jam again. We all know what Jeremy is about. It's pretty fucking obvious.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I'm trying to. I don't know any of the titles.
Rearview Mirror. Great song. One of my only Pearl Jam song that I like.
It's a great song, but like I presume it's about just like getting rid of someone and like, all right, goodbye, good luck. I want you in my rearview mirror.
Yeah, but it could be romance, could be the job, it could be your family.
It could be drug addiction, it could be anything. Yeah. I don't know like what Eddie Vedder was doing or thinking about when he was trying. And I don't particularly want to know, because I have my meaning for that song, and that's not in a selfish, sophist kind of way. But it's kind of like, no, I get it. It's like when you read a poem or something. Okay, maybe that's what William Butler Yeats meant, but this is what I understand. But I suppose then again, it's kind of like, you know, if you read Crowley's Book of the Law and you're like, yeah, well, that's what I think, and it's totally wrong. So I don't know. There is a kind of balance as well.
But see, I also have a huge part of me that loves the process of things. So I love behind the albums, and I love seeing bands recording the albums, and I love, the gigs or the concert album, and then, you know, you have the 20 minutes of them. And it's something like, if you add a 20-minute documentary to your live DVD, you increase your sales 1,000 times. Something ridiculous. Like people seem to like to, you know, they want to be part of the band. And that's the interesting thing, if they, like, say Metallica, like, we all think we know James Hetfield. Like, you know, we don't, like, at all. Or, you know, or like, like Lars seems to be someone has been in your life, your entire life. If you're into Metallica, if you're not, then he hasn't, obviously. But so especially, I suppose, that's happening now with like YouTubers and podcasters and all that kind of thing, where you know, you listen to so much of them that you know, if you sat down with them, you could tell a lot about them to them, and they go, "Who are you again?"
Yeah.
Why are you here? Oh yeah, remember you said that one time about. I go, "Who are you?" Stop telling me.
Imagine like putting on a live podcast and people at it and they'd be coming over after it and be saying stuff to you and be like, "Shit, did I say that on a podcast?"
I know, yeah.
Fuck.
I see that live. You said on the 5th of May podcast at 3:04 that you hated all Irish people and British people. And do you like to comment on that? No.
It's the itchy and scratchy thing from Homer, isn't it?
Yeah.
In episode 10 and he hit the xylophone, and I hope someone got fired for that.
Worst episode. So yeah, the idea with the video shows is to be talk a bit about the process behind it without giving the game away. That's kind of what if I can do that, I can. If I record it and then I go, no, that's shite, I'll just not release it. So that's it. A couple of videos.
Have you been adding it to like loads of playlists and stuff like that on Spotify, or just leave it alone?
I've no idea even how to do that. Like I've my own playlist. I go, I can just listen to the album if I want to listen to it and put it on the playlist. But Spotify keeps sending me emails of here's how to become famous, and I'm going like, I'm sure it doesn't work.
There's no way it works. There's no way Jimmy Page is on a computer in wherever he lives.
Yeah,
Cumbria.
Yeah, 70s guitar rock. Add that song to our playlist. Let's get in there. Yeah. Guitar gods. Oh yeah, that's the playlist for me. Whole lot of love straight in there. Yeah.
Anyway, it's great, man. I love it. I'm listening to it loads. It's brilliant, and it blew me away because, it wasn't what I was expecting at all. Like total instrumental, kind of post-rocky.
I don't know, Donovan. Love the demons, all the demons.
No, I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting more maybe guitar-y or something because it's quite. Obviously, there's a lot of guitars in it, but there's a lot of. No, it's very post-rocky. It's not. It's not verse, chorus, verse. It's expansive kind of music that has a theme going through each song. But no, it's great. It's like, yeah.
Thanks, man. I enjoyed it, and it was kind of it was something different. It's something I wanted to do. Something that wouldn't leave me alone until it was done. So I just kind of I had to be the conduit for that. But that kind of sounds like I didn't put the effort in. I really did. So there you go. I'd say it's a bit, 6 or 7 weeks of many hours. So. But I enjoyed every bit of it. There's not one point of it that I felt, I have to finish the song, or
Did you have to leave any on the cutting room floor? Like, is there any B-sides? Not B-sides, but you know what I mean. Like,
no, not anything that got anywhere. It was pretty much, anything that was good went somewhere, and I worked on it. But there was a few kind of things that just went, doesn't really work, doesn't fit.
Right.
But not really. It was one of those things where, I don't know, just kind of, it was easy. It was easy to do. It just kind of came out. I knew, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I knew what it was, and I knew what the shape it was, and I knew what the whole thing. So there wasn't much kind of experimenting to get that. It was a lot of it was just trying to get the sounds of the thing right. That was where most of it, rather than coming up with the melodies or doing that kind of stuff.
And so it's kind of like. It's kind of like my interpretation of it is that there's a banishing thing at the start of it, then there's an evocation, invocation, and then a dismissal as well, kind of at the ending as well. Yeah,
yeah, that's it. But it's kind of there's an interesting thing at the beginning of it because it starts with the banishing because you should, but it could have equally started with the second one, which is the call, which is that whole idea of why you do this in the first place. It's that thing, kind of. The whole point of the ritual is getting their attention in the sense of trying to, do an evocation, get them, or whatever it is. But the call has to come from, why would you do that? So that has to come from the other place first for you to notice it in order for you to want to get the attention. But the banishing should be first, so that's why I put it first. Yeah, and there's a couple of kind of cool themes through, like some of the songs have which you can't really do in I suppose in a normal album, where if you like say. You have a U2 album and they go halfway through the third track, there's a melody from another song or whatever. You hear it occasionally. Extreme did it, of all bands that did it in one of their albums, Three Sides Every Story, where there was a couple of melodies that played through the entire album and different things. I don't think that's really interesting because that happens an awful lot, obviously, in soundtracks and in classical
Pink Floyd used to do it.
Did they? Right, well, that's great.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that's something that, when albums became very much singles, and a collection of singles, you don't really have that, but when we had more of like Sgt. Pepper obviously has it in a kind of a shitty way, and they have like Sgt. Pepper and then the reprise at the end. It doesn't really. It's not. It's just kind of tacked on. Yeah. But something like that. So I enjoyed kind of that, being that rather than putting yourself under any kind of rules that you can't do this kind of stuff. Well, if the end of the song needs that melody and you're calling it back, then good. And there's users to allow yourself to do that and have the kind of motifs running through everything. So it seems it's a collection of music rather than 10 songs or 10.
Yeah.
So
cool. Yeah, because it's something that, like, I mean, I think on the first or second listen, I was kind of going, yeah, this is something that you could kind of maybe hear being used in kind of, I don't know what kind of music they use in the Telema. They call it the Gnostic Masses. That's what they call it. You could hear something like that being used throughout with it, I suppose,
Yeah.
So you're going to set up a church now.
Yeah, another one, yeah. Set up another one. Spud and Tommie. We even have the music now. It's fine. We have the hymns. Yeah. Track 7. The ecstasy of the drowned. Everyone come on.
Drowning in the cum you have to drink.
Yeah. Just eat the wafer. Just eat the fucking wafer. What's your problem? Eat the fucking wafer. Christ's sake.
Yeah. Oh, look at you, you're so special. You're not going to eat some strangers, period. Huh?
Yeah. It's mixed with my cum. I mean, what's your problem?
I see
it's homeopathic, though. It's diluted so much, but that makes it more powerful. So it's actually the strongest cum. That's right. We're getting this ridiculous.
Oh, God. Dig up, lads. Dig up.
Yeah. So there was a photo of you on Instagram of you being one with a horse, and it goes, Jesus, there's Spud doing his horse whispering. And I'm thinking of it, you look great, man. You look physically look great. Not that I always have a problem with compliments with people where I go, just you look really good, man. Because what I feel I'm actually saying is, you used to look shit.
I did used to look bigger. You know what? Remember when we did was it the first challenge, the lose weight challenge?
Yeah.
So back then I was 97.
Are you 93? Please be 93.
No. Before going down to thing, I was 80. So I've lost 17 kilos in a year and a half.
So what's that?
So
that's 12 and a half stone or something, isn't it? 12. No. The 80 kilos is about 12 stone, isn't it? 83 is...
Oh, no, I don't know. I don't remember.
83, I think, is 13. No, so it's just under 12 and a half.
So 17 bags of... I've lost 17 bags of sugar in... Yeah, so it's about 18 months. I've lost more or less a kilo every month, which is...
And is that...
Great, but it's fine.
It's dead on. It's better than putting on a kilo every month. I more or less did. And is that by, like, not having fun, or is that just, you think, being on the farm and
to be honest...
Is it a farm? Is that what you call it? Or,
yeah, ranch.
Ranch.
Call it a ranch. Ranch, it's what more people would get what it is then. Do you know what? I found that giving up drink and drinking has made no difference at all. What has worked for me is the intermittent fasting, and it's a little bit different. You do 1 meal a day. I'll try and do... it's more or less the same. I'll try and eat nothing for 24 hours every second or third day kind of thing. And I stepped it up there a couple of months ago. Every Monday, Wednesday and Friday I won't eat anything. So that loses. But like it takes getting used to, because you get...
And is that a full 24 hours, or is it you doing the 36? Like, but I mean, do you stop eating on Monday at 2 o'clock and then again Tuesday at 2 o'clock? Because that's 24 hours. So you're eating both days, but you've not ate for 24 hours. Or you not eating at all Tuesday, which means...
No, the 24 hours. 24 hours. Yeah. And but then when I break the 24 hours, I'll eat like just a small dinner, of just mostly vegetables, and I've given up meat more or less completely. Except when I was down at the ranch, because there's no point in going to someone's house and being awkward and saying, I don't eat meat anymore, because they eat so much meat. It's just a pain. And she makes dinners for like 10 people. There's no point in being the one who's like, No, especially because it's not if it was a moral thing and I've been a vegetarian for years, then fine, you can do it. Stick to your guns. But it's just like, I'm not going to give her more work, so...
Yeah, what I tend to do in situations like that is that I'll just go, don't worry about me. I'll look after myself. I'm not putting you under anything. I'll
Yeah.
Something
Well,
like
that's hard to do when you're working from 8 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, though, because you don't have time to make anything.
I don't know what to do in that situation.
look, the idea, man, is I want to get down to 70. So that's another 10 to go. Well, I just weighed myself this morning. I put on 2 over the last couple of days.
Muscle. That's muscle.
But that's because... How do I say this? When you eat lots of meat after you haven't been eating meat for a while, your belly doesn't work properly. Stays in your body for longer, so you're carrying a bit of extra weight. And then
or if the ads are to believe, it stays in your handbag or something. Remember that where it's like, oh, my handbag's getting so full. I need something to empty my handbag.
And then yesterday, because you're driving for like 8 hours, I'm a whore for biscuits when I'm driving because I need the sugar just to be alert. So I had a full packet of milk of cookies yesterday, which was absolutely divine. They were gorgeous, but like I shouldn't be eating them. No, but I want to get down to 70 because of the sleep thing. Apparently, if you lose lots of weight, it'll... Because the thing that causes sleep apnea is... Well, one of the possible things is you're supposed to have a kind of enlarged or fat kind of tongue. So it sticks into your throat when you... like that, when you snore or whatever. But... It's like one of the last things that you lose weight. You can lose weight everywhere, but because this is inside, you can, but it's like one of the last things to go.
All right.
And because of my height and age, I'm supposed to be like about 70, 75 kilos anyway.
What height are you?
No?
You're 5'9", eh? 5'8", 5'9"?
Oh, I don't remember. In centimetres, what am I? 671? 70 something? Is that right? I'm not tall anyway.
I'm 5'11" and I'm 180 or 181 if I've been doing yoga.
Yeah, so I'm less than you anyway. I'm a good fist shorter than you anyway.
Yeah. So that what your BPM then is 11 stone probably or something like that or whatever. I know we're very different.
Probably, yeah. BMI, isn't it? Probably something like about 70 something. That's the proper I am. Like I've gone from being properly obese to just a little obese now. But I get it. If I keep doing this, a kilo a month is doable.
You couldn't possibly be still in the obese territory at this point. I can't imagine. You couldn't be.
Don't know. I'd probably overweight then. You know?
Well, I know that when I was at my lightest, when I was doing Weight Watchers and I was fabulously sexy, I was 80. And I was like a bit too thin. So
yeah.
Oh well, I don't know if I was. It was when people talk, oh, you're a bit too thin there, and you go, shut up. I was a fat
but like, what the fuck? I'm not fucking Samantha Fox or something. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is super? What is too thin? Naomi Campbell. Okay, she's too thin. Okay, but like me, I've been overweight since I was like 13, 14. I gotta get this middle age now. I gotta get this under control.
Yeah, and now is the time because I'm the same. Because if I don't get it now, you're not getting it.
Exactly.
You're not getting in your 50s. You're not doing it.
And like, okay, like for a lot of people, it's through exercise because they're getting somewhere by putting in some effort. I'm just terrible at exercise. I get on a treadmill and I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Stupid. Yeah. An exercise bike. I don't know how many exercise bikes I've owned. And it's just, I'm not going anywhere. It's pointless, like. And bikes as well. The place where I live now is too hilly for bikes.
Right.
The hills kill you. This is no fun at all, like. So it's just,
but you like walking though and all that stuff.
Just going to starve myself. I'm just going to starve myself. It's the handiest thing to do, like.
Yeah.
I like the more and more research that comes out about this is that it's actually very, very good for you.
Yeah.
For men now, I have to put that in now. It's men.
Yeah. They are saying though that if women were doing it, that it would definitely be seen as an eating disorder. So that there's that to take into account.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah. That's a bit mad, isn't it?
Yeah. It's an odd one.
But I'm not doing it to look good because it's too late for that. I'm 40 and bald. Can't be good looking anymore, like.
You're just not your own type. There's definitely someone you're the type for. Like.
I'm just standing in front of the mirror. It's like, you're not my type, man. You're just not my type. I'm not into you.
Nah, man. Don't like you. Yeah. I think we should just be friends. And maybe not even that.
Instead of that, like self-hatred. Teenage face that everyone goes through. I hate you. You're so ugly. Yeah, why not just be like, I'm not into you. You're just not my type.
I'm just not into you,
man. That's brilliant. Where were you when I was 15?
Hating myself, looking myself in the mirror.
Looking in the mirror. Happy birthday as well, by the way.
Thanks very much.
Belated birthday. 44, good man. When was it? Wasn't it yesterday? It was the day before, wasn't it?
Sunday, 25th, yeah. 25th. I'm a Leo.
Because I was looking, yesterday was a mad day for birthdays. Did you know that?
Once my batch is over, I don't care about anyone else's.
I know, but hold on,
No, and actually, leading up to it was weird because there was a few people who were going, "Oh, that's interesting that I've never seen." Martin Gore from Depeche Mode is the day before me. I was going like
day before you.
Yeah.
Well, look, I found some right. Yeah. So George Bernard Shaw was 26th. Yeah, 20. You're what? 25th, 26th was George Bernard Shaw. Carl Jung.
Was he? Right. He was a Leo. Carl Jung was a Leo. That's shocking.
Aldous Huxley. I don't know that fella. Who's next? Stanley Kubrick. Mick Jagger. Helen Mirren. And you know that kick-ass New Zealand Prime Minister?
No.
Who saved New Zealand from COVID? Her. She's only young though. She's only young enough. And but then you know to you need bad ones as well. There's Kevin Spacey and Sandra Bullock. No, Sandra Bullock's okay.
Kevin Spacey and Sandra Bullock. Yes, let's put them together as an example of bad people.
Kevin Spacey's bad.
But that's what I mean. Sandra Bullock compared to Kevin Spacey. Well, I don't know. You know something with Sandra Bullock?
No, I don't actually. No, just I saw her in a bad film. You share your birthday with the man who started World War I, though.
That's fine.
Gavrilo Princip, the Serbian fellow who shot Franz Ferdinand.
Nice. So, and then we got that wonderful band in the 90s. So it was all worth it. It was fine. It was great. Yeah. Couple of top 10 hits. Definitely worth the walk.
There's no one else. Oh, Matt LeBlanc. He's yours as well. He's on your day as well. Yeah, he's younger than you though.
Is he? No way.
No, he's not.
That's all right.
No, he's ancient. He's like born in 1967. He's old.
It's so weird when you watch Friends. I know people don't like Friends, but I'm Generation X, so Friends was a huge thing. Millenniums just don't understand it. But it's like when you're watching it and you go, they were older than us when it started. Well, I mean, they're still older than us, but now they're so much younger than us, like they're 27, 28. You go, what? You're meant to be older than me. Stop it. Not meant to be old enough to be, because when Monica gets, and she starts going out with Tom Selleck, and then Tom Selleck is actually younger than me than he was in Friends, and you kind of go, oh, come on, really?
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's mad.
Yeah.
Jesus, that is mad.
You start watching any kind of programs, and the old guy in it, the old guy, you go, he's about my age. Why is he the old guy? He's a normal, young, healthy man who's been...
Yeah, jeez, that's mad. Yeah, I saw something the other day. You remember Home and Away? Home and Away was big in Ireland. Yeah. The Yanks won't have a clue what we're talking about. It's kind of like this teenage drama. A bit like Saved by the Bell, but less comedic, more drama, we'll say, right?
Daily soap opera.
Daily soap opera, teenagers, early 20s. That was the kind of...
Neighbours was another one that was similar. Yeah.
Do you remember the first big famous? Well, it was Shane. Shane died yesterday.
Oh no way! No,
do you remember him? But he was 45. I'm like, wait, no, hold on a second now.
He was 45 20 years ago.
Yeah, that means he was only about 15, 16 when he was in it, but he was playing this 25-year-old. I'm like, what the hell is going on there? But then again, the Australian sun, it ages.
Yeah.
Oh, it ages. It really ages. All kangaroos are actually 4 years old. They look.
Yeah. They look well. Do you ever see a muscly kangaroo? The fighting. Jeez, I wouldn't attack them.
Isn't it the thing about kangaroos that you're not supposed to? No, what is it? Oh, don't they say? I think
you're not supposed to give them an ice cream.
You're not supposed. No, you're supposed to swerve for a kangaroo, but not for some other animal. They say it here as well in Poland. In Poland, you hit the deer, but you swerve for the moose. Because if you hit a moose, you're dead. And same with a bison. So don't. If you see a bison, get out of the way. But a deer, you're grand.
I think in Ireland legally you have to avoid a dog, but you have to run over a cat. That's the kind no, that's the adage. Save the dog, kill the cat.
There's definitely a Catholic Church blame something in there. Witch hunts and gotta be. Yeah.
All right. It's just how to write a movie script. Save the cat or kill the dog, save the cat. No, save the cat, kill the cat. And that today, like the beginning of House of Cards, because the big thing in how to make the opening of a movie, whatever, is you kill the cat. But you never kill a dog, because that if you kill a cat, that gives something about the character. But if you kill a dog, it's too much for the audience. They don't like it, so you never kill a dog.
Is that right? Yeah.
So at the beginning of House of Cards, one of the opening scene of it is Kevin Spacey killing the dog. It's just to go, fuck you.
Bastard. Yeah. That's not nice. Yeah, I tried to watch that for a bit and just didn't gel with it at all.
I enjoyed it. But it's ludicrous now, because then Trump happened and he went, well, It's way worse than anything
Can't get
that could
any
have done.
worse.
No, so it's like the kind of stuff that's like, oh my God, this will topple an empire. You go, yeah, well, Trump did 6 of them last week, so it happens.
Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a great dream. I'm going to tell you about my dream, and I know people talking about the dreams is stupid, but you know. And
I love listening to people's dreams.
I've noticed, and I kind of knew, but I didn't realize much that. But 80% of my dreams involve being in one part of one area and having to get to another area, be that like a village, a town, a school. Of course, lots of schools.
So you're trying to get somewhere. Okay, well, let's
and it always involves there might be some sort of transport, but it could be something really easy from trying to get like from one side of a building to another. But so much of it is that kind of thing. But
have you listened to Duncan Barford's latest podcast about the dream?
I've read listened to that one. He's a new one since then, though, so I haven't listened to that one. Whatever.
Well, that's funny because he talks about this in the podcast. He went through his dreams and Nicky came up with, there were basically, is it 12 or 14 themes?
Oh, right, yeah.
That he noticed from his dream journals, that these are the things that he tends to dream about. And yeah, so I was slagging him off on Twitter. It's like, you're going to make us wait till you're 50 years dead before we get to read this fucking book.
Duncan's Red Book. Yeah. It's Communist Manifesto, though. It's Duncan's Red Book. So anyway, at some point there was this... I was walking, I don't know, there was a bus involved at one end of the town. There's always bridges. There's always an accident as well, or something happens, you know, there's some thing. But anyway, that's the broader kind of mental health landscape of my dreams. But while this was kind of happening, this was a normal thing. What started happening when people were coming up to me and would like kind of stop me and go, Parsimony, remember it. And I'd go, all right, okay. And it just kept happening. And then, you know, I would wake up and I'd go, all right, I must remember that. That's it, you know. And then go into another dream, and I was kind of at a party or whatever, and this guy sat down beside me, and he goes, no, seriously, you have to remember this. Parsimony. I'm going, okay. This is weird. So it happened, like, not 10 times, but more than 5, but like to the point where I kind of woke up. And then I woke up that morning, and I went, oh, yeah, no, I must remember that. And then went about my day and totally forgot it, as you do. Because I'm used to, I know you should have a dream journal and, you know, all of this stuff. And I should, but, you know. When you wake up and you have to, you know, a 3-year-old going, downstairs, food. You kind of, right, okay, just hold on while I just fill out my my journal.
10 pages.
Yeah. But anyway, one of those things, it just when I come into the office, sitting there, I went, that thing that I was, you know, deliberately told to remember, I must remember. What was the word? What were they saying? And I couldn't think of it for ages. I go, you dickhead, you've got the secret of the universe and you forgot it. Because there's also... once in a dream told the real name of Cthulhu and I forgot it, and it was, you know, really powerful name, and I was going,
Gary. It's Gary, man. It's Gary.
It's
definitely Gary.
So anyway, I was looking up, and I mean, I'm aware of the word, but I don't think I really knew what it meant. Like people being or making such that are very parsimonious, and in some way I thought it was that, because I think of the way the word flows, I thought it was a good thing. Seeing, you know, like a kind of like. Good. So maybe my thing was like they were good natured or there's some sort of harmony to it, but of course it doesn't mean that at all. It's being kind of stingy and
nice.
and being frugal to the point of miserliness kind of thing. But that's one interpretation. I was going, well, I don't think I am that. I just,
is this the parsimony? Bring the parsimony, and then this word is
no, it's parsimony. It's Parsimony. One word. Parsimony.
I thought you were saying parsimony.
Oh, parsimony. Oh no, that's even. Oh, it was.
I thought you were saying
hold
parsimony.
on, this changes everything. No, parsimony.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I was going, well, I don't think I am that. Like, I mean, obviously at times when I don't have money, I don't spend money, but I'm not. You know, I try. You know, it's not something that I feel is. But then it was kind of reading through it, and I got to the wiki entry, and it was. Refusing to use resources that you have. And I went,
okay.
That's interesting. So that's definitely something I could work with. Kind of thinking of what do I not use? And it's like, well, tons of magic I just don't do because, I'll get into that. That's kind of led to everything. But the other kind of thing what it means is the law of parsimony is Occam's razor.
Right.
So, don't multiply needlessly. So I was going, that's very interesting. There's two. So the kind of being miserly thing, I think maybe that's something, but it didn't seem
you're
to
not
fit.
a miser.
Yeah, it didn't seem to fit. Didn't seem to fit. But not using the resources available to you, that goes, oh, well, hold on, that's something I can look at. And then, you know, the law of parsimony, meaning that, you know, it's the simplest explanation is the preferred one. But the thing with Occam's razor, people think like the simplest explanation can also be a bit complicated, but that's just the simplest thing. That
of course,
yeah. So that was kind of, I thought that was interesting, but it was so weird. Just the insistence. It was almost as if there was a dream happening, and then something entered the dream to try and get at me. It wasn't part of the dream, but I mean, obviously it was. But it was kind of good. So if anyone else has any kind of ideas around parsimony, that's I'll certainly take it. But it kind of led me then down the path of, well, what are resources am I not looking at here? What am I not doing? And it was definitely, it brought back to the thing that we've talked about before, and this was the thing I was saying to you last night that I wanted to kind of pick your brain about, with this kind of idea of surrendering and allowing the world and, you know, that kind of stuff, and how I was kind of having not issue with that, I don't know what the correct word is, in that I feel I've done that and it hasn't worked out for me in the way as described that it should do. And then it was kind of getting me to think, well, what exactly, we've talked before as well about thinking that events happen in order for you to learn. You know, that kind of thing that we have where it's kind of something nasty happens and go, well, that had to happen so that you would become a better person. We'd kind of dismissed that. And then I was kind of going, well, what's the difference between surrendering to the divine and thinking that events are happening? And I just couldn't get it. So that's what I wanted to pick your brain about, going like, what is the difference between that? Like if you're surrendering to the divine, what's happening that is different than thinking something in your life occurred in order for you to learn or to become a better person? Or
okay. I want to put words into this now. I think the difference would be, let's start with the second one. So the second one is that something bad happens and it's there because it was sent by whatever, outside forces, because Spud needs to learn a lesson, all right?
Yeah.
That's nonsense.
Yeah.
Well, me and you agree on that.
Yeah.
Because I think in an existential kind of way, in that meaning can be found in everything, but it's up to you to judge for yourself if you want to put it there or not. Yeah. Okay? And everything from the fucking light shining in your window at a certain angle to meaning completely nothing to anybody.
Yeah.
But on a certain time and a certain day, because you're thinking something and the light shines in and you say, okay, some light goes off and you think it's some synchronicity, which for no one else in the world it might not have been, but for you at that very moment in time, you've attached a meaning to it. And I think that's totally allowed. Not even totally allowed. I think it should be done.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. Okay.
To find your own kind of meaning in life and to put your own meaning in stuff. But no, I the difference between that and surrendering for me is just kind of stop trying to have so much control over the things that really you don't have that much control over anyway. So say, for example, let me try and think of one now.
What was the way? 10. You'll think of 10 things as soon as the podcast is
I know. It's just that. Can I tell you the story?
Well, I'll tell you an example you told me, and you can tell me thing, because you were saying as a way to try and get me to surrender was to say allow other people to make decisions in, say, like my son, my breakfast thing. Yeah.
Did you try it? Did you?
I tried it, not to do with food, but with other stuff. I did, yeah.
Right.
But I will tell you my conclusion. This is I don't want to sully your.
No. Go ahead. What happened?
Well, but my overall kind of thing about it is what I found is that I think there is probably a difference between this. There is definitely a difference between the surrendering and the causal other surrendering thing, is thinking that the world is happening. Now, of course, Carl Jung thinks that synchronicities are causal, but they're acausal in that you can't see what the cause is. But he says there's definitely a cause to it, that something's doing that. So I don't know how I feel about that, but it's just that what I found what I was doing is I was surrendering. All my surrendering involves allowing higher self, spirit, God, whatever, to control my life. And in a sense, it then became that events and all that were, in a sense, orchestrated by that, and that good things were seen as bad things were definitely seen as a punishment, or a way to keep you in your, don't be a tall poppy, keep you down, keep you the thing. And good things weren't even seen as reward, they're seen as an allowance in order to, so that you don't break, so you don't fucking break you with all this other stuff. And all that's horrible, it's really shitty, dark, shadowy type kind of stuff. But it's just like so I then when people say, you surrender, I go, well, no, I did that for the last 30 years. It's shitty. I'm not surrendering my life to this crap anymore. But I don't know what, because I thought, like, again, right, talking to Duncan about similar stuff around that, and he goes, well, you definitely were surrendering in the point where you had the awakening experience you had, because you were. And he goes, I understand that I can do that within a meditative practice. I can absolutely, say you're doing the beloved, no problem. I can surrender all that, everything, but not then in your day-to-day life, because that feels like you're just doing that shitty new age, handing over your kind of control to something that can only take credit for something after the fact. And that's am I making? I'm not sure I'm making sense.
No, you're making total sense. Look, what I've written down here is that just while you were talking, a thought came to me. So surrender for me, surrender is the opposite of having anxiety, and control. Having control of situations, or feeling that you have control of situations, is a form of anxiety, because you're looking into the future and you're saying, right, I have to do this tomorrow, I have to do that next week, I have to do that next week, I have to do this. And then you finally lead yourself down a tunnel where, like, well, we were coming home last week and we were driving home yesterday, and we were talking about, like, stuff that's up in the air about people who are coming to visit us in the next coming months and all, and how we're going to handle it and do stuff and things like that. And eventually it's just like Dag is just saying, it's weeks away. Calm down. It's okay.
Yeah.
Okay? And this is the surrender, all right? This is just saying, you know what, you're right. It's ages away. I actually don't need to worry about that now. I don't.
Okay.
And even though, even though, like I did say back to her then later on, I says, look, but you understand why I'm thinking this? It's because I want to be a step ahead, so that I can be prepared. And she says, that's, of course, it's normal. But you're getting too into it,
Yeah.
So for me, that's what it is. It's not about, but also it can be little things about, like, you're walking in the forest, you come to a fork in the road, and you're going, well, normally I go left, but today I'll go right. No, but you know what? I won't do either of them. I'll flip a coin and see whatever, and then that'll tell me which way to go. But that's still, that's making fun. That's even make...
Yeah,
Let's
but is that
magic
just trying to put randomness into it rather than surrender, though? Because the surrender my understanding of surrender would be, you go, well, you decide for me which way I go, which is how it's purported.
Of course you could do it. You can say that as well. Okay, wherever the next bird comes from, you'd be like, all right, I'm going to go that way. That's surrender.
But there's a very fine line then between thinking that the world is happening for you, which it may be, because it's such a
yeah.
But then it's, where do you stop? Where you go, well, my dog just died to teach me a lesson. It's like, or whatever it is. Why are these things happening? Like, what's the difference between the bird calling so that you know to go this way, and something shitty happening in your life? You go, oh well, they both seem orchestrated by something outside. So I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I've been listening. Who was saying this?
Again. Sorry, this sounds like I'm picking at you, and I don't mean it all. It's just because I know you said these things, so I want to understand them. I remember you saying that the very first time that you kind of had the surrender thing is when you went to the farm first, and you just said, "I'm not making any decisions for a week," or I'm just going to go with the flow. And there was something around. You were up at a chimney, and you were saying, "Oh, and she's trying to show me something," or there was something around this kind of thing where you realised thing. And I was kind of going, "Who was making the decisions then?" Or what were you like? Were you just going, I'm just going to go with whatever happens? Or was there some sort of thinking that your HGA was going to maneuver things in such a way to show you something? That's the thing. I find hard to understand.
Oh God, it's a hard one to know because
Isn't it? Yeah.
Like most of the time, it's with me and the surrender stuff is that I'm just going to see what happens, and then from that, then I'll take any meaning if there is any that I think to be taken. All right.
Yeah.
But then there's other times where I'm like, yeah, I need a hand on this, but I'm not going to decide, or I'm not going to make the decision now. So if there's someone up there who can help me out,
If you're up there, Superman.
yeah, and then and then within a couple of days or a day or two or whatever, it's even happened in a couple of minutes where the thing has become resolved. It's see, I was an awful control freak. I was like, I used to fret about everything, and I was an awful insomniac because I just lay awake at night just worrying about the smallest. Like, I used to worry about like stuff I did when I was a teenager. Like, I'm in my mid-20s, 30s, and I'm like, why did I do that thing to that person when I was 15? And then you catch yourself, what the fuck am I doing? Like, shut the fuck up, go sleep. No, you need stuff to do tomorrow. And then you're creating more anxiety because there's stuff to do. And it's just kind of just going, no, I don't need to live like that anymore. I can just be here breathing now in the world and just say, it's okay. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Everything is fine at the minute. Nothing is brilliant, but I'm not. I don't have typhus in a fucking refugee camp on a Greek island because the European Union won't let me in. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, things are okay. You know, I have to.
Things are okay, not being okay as well. All that stuff. Yeah. No, I get that.
Yeah, there's all that stuff as well. Yeah. I just think, Tommie, I think maybe the surrender stuff with you is to kind of look at anxiety a bit more, because anxiety sounds like it's worse than it is, but anxiety is just like thinking, oh yeah, I have to go to shop at 3 o'clock before it closes because it'll be closed at 3:30. Yeah, you know, that's a form of anxiety. Yeah. You know,
yeah. And so, then not being able to not think about that. That's where you're playing.
Yeah. But whereas but I suppose the surrender thing there is just like, I'll give you an example, right? We've this coffee machine, and it makes amazing coffee, but it's a pain in the arse because it's always running out of water or it's always running out of coffee beans. You know what? And so, or else the thing is full, and sometimes you get the 3 bad things in a row. It has no water, it has no coffee beans, and you have to change, and you have to take out the old.
And your kids are shouting at you, and you've had a row your wife, and the milk's on the floor.
Yeah, and you just go, 3 in a row, fuck me, life is terrible, fuck you, God, what the fuck, HGA, how dare you, you're fucking me over. And I just said one day, Spud, you're a fucking spa. When you're making your coffee, you have time, refill the water, refill the beans, check the thing. And ever since then, the coffee machine has never pissed me off, because why would it?
Yeah. No, that's the thing, that's exactly what happened to me through the therapy, was that I realised that I could given agency to exactly that thing, where if there was no water, no coffee, and no thing in the coffee machine, that was being done deliberately.
Sure.
I realised, that's bullshit. But then convert. So that's wonderful that I got rid of it. Like, that's such a huge thing for me. And it even, there's a very interesting thing that happened in my brain because of it, where I switched from my eternal dialogue up until that point was we. And that it's I now, which it never was my entire life. So it was something to do with splitting that thing. But my problem then is with having done that, is then going, well, no, you should surrender to your HDA, and you should surrender in the promise. And in Magia, for instance, and I'm not picking on Magia, it's just a thing that I'm familiar with. And
it's a non-Jew teaching. We'll call it that.
With the kind of idea that you don't, in a sense, need to do magic, because when you sort out these things, your life kind of flows and becomes good. Or, you know, it's the kind of the idea that your outside world is a reflection of your inside understanding, which in a sense that is pointing to that if your coffee machine is doing something like that, then there's something to do with your inside understanding that's doing that. And I don't think that's true. And I think I got caught up in that. Or at least if it might be true, I just don't understand what he's talking about in life. So I'll be aware of that. And it's just kind of, because coming from therapy, and it was kind of, I finished therapy last week, so I did 34 hours of therapy over the last 2 years with the break because of COVID. And what I hoped coming from the, I suppose, the Magia problem or promise was that if you do the bindings and you sort your inner stuff out, that your life somehow becomes better, or these things kind of work out. You know, that if you solve a binding, if you solve a shadow, then it doesn't appear anymore, or at least you recognize it when it happens, and it just does, you don't have the reaction. But what I found is, it's all well and good working all this stuff out, knowing who you are, knowing why these things, why this annoys you, where it comes from, where it's the originating scene and all that. But you still go out and you go, oh, well, other people haven't changed. So it's exactly the same. Only I have a greater understanding of it. And so I remember you were saying when you come from therapy, one of the things you did is you left a load of relationships because you just go, well, I'm not doing that anymore. And that's definitely that is one thing that you can do. But I think the other two choices is you can continue to fight it, which what was the choice I did, because I thought, well, now that I know who I am and can stand up for myself, and then, you know, people will see that and it'll change. It turns out they don't. So you've just upped the conflict in your life, you know, so it's just, you've created more conflict. Or the third thing is you can surrender to it and just allow it to happen. The problem with that is that you end up life happening at you, and you'll end up losing yourself and enduring, and you're just kind of putting up with it. You know, just kind of seeing how much you can take before you explode. Which that's, you know, and there definitely should be, there's probably a fulcrum that I can't see, because obviously people thrive in this planet. But so my problem with the whole surrender thing is that it doesn't ever seem like I can do it in the sense of let things go, but in the practical, and definitely not think that the coffee machine is punishing me, you know, God is punishing me through a coffee machine or whatever it is. But it's just, I don't know. I feel that my problem is not that I need to surrender, it's that I need to stop doing it. Because that's what I think my problem is. And that's hard, because every single fucking teaching that I've ever come across is telling me to do the thing I've always done that got me the bad place in the first thing. If that makes sense.
It makes sense. And I can see your problem between the second and third option. It is, and I think the answer is somewhere in between both of them, because I think there's many times when it's kind of like, how to put this now? Look, I didn't start off as a great dad. I really didn't. I hadn't a clue what I was doing. I wasn't ready. I didn't know what I was at. I'm like, just thing would be beside you, the kid thing. This thing, like
this thing.
Like, I don't know what to do. Like, well, what am I at here? You know. Yeah. But it's learning to accept that situation. You get me? Surrendering to that situation and making the most of it. Now I know. I know there's many situations in life where you're like, no, I'm not surrendering to that situation. I have to fight my fucking corner. You know. But it's picking and choosing what something is worth fighting over.
That's it.
You get me? Now look, but Tommie, I know that's all wishy-washy language.
No, it's not. I do think that's the answer. I just don't think it's the answer we want. But I think that's the answer. You know, I think I want the magic, amazing fourth option that I'm not aware of, and I'm not aware of it because I don't think it exists. But the point, I suppose, to bring it actually round, what I think is that I think that's what parsimony is pointing at.
Like there's stuff that we all don't like fucking doing. You know what I mean? Like it can be cutting the grass, it can be
I hate
cutting back the bushes or something. But like, you know what? Like it's learning then to accept, you know what? I've half an hour here on my own and I can listen to some music. This is alright actually. You know? It's that. But it's the reality transurfing thing of looking, okay, where is the advantage here?
Yeah.
You know that? Yeah. No, I know, like that's not easy when you've
no, it's not. And a wife
and kids shouting and roaring at you, and you're going, why, how did I get myself in this situation? You know what I mean? I had to pull off the road yesterday and put the seatbelts on the young one in the back of the car. We're bombing down the highway 140 kilometres, and Daddy, she's like, she's in the back going, look, no seatbelts. I'm like, fuck's sake, like.
Yeah.
But then when I opened the door, like we were shouting at her in the car, like, in two languages, and like. But then when we pull over, I opened the door.
Subtitles and everything were coming up.
I opened the door in the petrol station, and she has this. She was scared, and my heart melted, and I just went, "You're okay. Just don't do it again, all right? Because it's dangerous." And she's fine, you know. But where am I seeing the advantage? Seeing the advantage in that situation is right. Getting this under control, pulling into a petrol station as fast as I can, fixing it, and no one had to lose their heads. Okay, we shouted at her. Sometimes you have to shout at your kids. It's not, Jesus, it's kind of like we're in this world now where it's like, oh, you shouldn't shout at your kids. Fuck that. You have to shout at your kids.
Yeah.
You have to. How could you not?
Yeah.
Do you know? But like,
I think it's different. You shouldn't beat the shit out of your kids, which is what used to happen.
Fuck no.
Don't do that.
Christ almighty. God no. My mother broke a rolling pin, not a wooden spoon. Broke a rolling pin on my arse one day. Could you imagine? It's a big fucking heavy rolling pin. Yeah, that's how hard I was hit. But anyway, let's leave those stories of child abuse aside for a moment.
Yeah. What's the
That's why Spud's like that.
What's the where you can be tried for a crime? The terms or the length of there's something that's always in Law and Order. That it's too long ago. We can't.
Yeah. Something like that. I haven't a clue.
Yeah, there's definitely someone listening to this podcast right now screaming at us what it is. I got these fucking terms of. So enjoy that. Enjoy being annoyed with Tommie and Spud again.
There's another thing as well though on this Tommie, and it's that like I suppose it's a reality transurfing thing. We can put it in as well. Is that seeing the kind of importance of something, do you know? And the more kind of steps I've had with my experiences, and insights, and stuff like that, like the definitely the less importance I give to certain things. Now sometimes I get wound up, like my mom, my dad ring me and they'll be annoyed or they'll annoy me, and 9 times out of 10 I'll be fucking a Zen pig in a shit heap or whatever. So I'm the laughing cow. I'm the Buddhist cow, Zen cow or whatever, and everything is fine. But then the 10th time, and just go, oh, fuck this, and you might lose your temper or something. But you just a lot of parental stuff comes up with me, doesn't it? There's. Could you put a name? Maybe put a name to that role. It's just trying to learn what's important, and there's a lot of stuff where like thankfully like me and Aga do a lot of meditation now, and we've come to realize that sometimes when we'll have a little bit of an argument or whatever, we'll both kind of say, a minute or two into it, we can say, this isn't important. This doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, and it can be very hard, like, especially like in work relationships and stuff like that, because there's always a balance of who's hierarchical, who's higher up, who's lower than me, and
so
and all that kind of stuff.
Dominance fighting.
Whereas
rather
like,
than that,
you can just say, this doesn't matter. It's okay. And if I do this extra bit of work, it'll actually look better for me anyway. Or I'll just do it because, you know what? I'm a nicer person than him. He's a douchebag, so I'll just do it. Yeah, there's that, but that's a kind of letting your ego just kind of take a back seat and just going, this doesn't matter. It'll take me an extra half an hour. I'll fucking do it. Yeah. There's things that's a surrendering as well. It's just saying, you know what? Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I think. See, I understand that, and I think my problem is that I've possibly let people walk over me a bit too much, or let life walk over me a bit too much, thinking. That's what I was meant to do. That's
what surrendering is. Yeah.
And that it doesn't matter what I want or what I would enjoy or what that question. What do you want? Well, I don't know, and the reason I don't know is because I've been kind of spent my entire life thinking that what I want is wrong and that I should let Jesus take the wheel, man, and to tell me what it is or whatever. But what has happened is that I've just allowed that to go into my relationships, gone into all the dynamics of my life, where it's just I've kind of allowed people to tell me who I am or what I'm to do, rather than ever putting my will out into the world. Even that, putting your will out into the world, even in that is the will is the will of God, not your will. So that even that is a kind of a point of going, your Tommie, insignificant will. And I kind of, there's a great video, and it's a great video only in that it's a total train wreck. And it's Tim Freak talking to Gary Weber and some woman I don't know, I can't remember her name, but she just looks like she's had a nervous breakdown or some sort of psychotic break. It's just very weird. But they're talking about the non-dual awakening and stuff like that. And Tim Freak, I really like Tim Freak. He's, I don't know, he he comes across as like kind of a bubbling fool or whatever that expression is. But and then when you actually listen to it, you go, hold on. Yeah. Hold on. You've really, and also he wrote 34 books, and I went, I was completely wrong. I've changed my mind. And I think that's amazing that he, was honest enough like that, because I don't think a lot of people would do that. Not sure I would. If that's what you're known for, and that's that's your money and that's your income.
Imagine Dawkins is when he's 89, he brings out a book.
Just before I go, met God when I was 12. He's dead on. It's all been a lie. But Gary Webber, who we know from Chasing the Present, that documentary, really, and he's worth checking out. So he's
brilliant. Yeah,
he is really good. But have
you seen the video where he does the mad dances with his hands?
Yeah. I've seen some of that. Yeah.
They're fun, aren't they?
Yeah. They're mudras. Not what he calls them, mudras.
Yeah.
So the interview is saying to Gary Webber, that whole thing where he's talking about, there's no person who suffers and all this kind of thing. And Tim Freak says, well, so you have a daughter, and if your daughter died, I assume there'd be some part of you that would feel something different than someone else's daughter dying. And Gary Webber goes, no, my daughter died, it would be the same as anything. And Tim Freak goes, if that's awakening, right? I don't want it. I don't want that. And I was going, Tim, I'm with you, because I don't want that. And
I'm with Tim there on that.
Yeah, and he's saying, I think an awful lot of these non-dual guys are stopping before they get to the end. So he's going, get to the whole thing. He says there's a return. There's a return to why does Tim exist again? They're forgetting.
100% agree with you. 100% agree. I think what they have become is they have pushed down their feelings to become animals, basically. Yeah. Dogs have emotions, but they don't care.
They're not planning. They're not thinking about the future.
It's like say with the horses, a mare and a foal are supposed to be together for 2 years, but like a good 80% of ranchers will sell that mare after she's had the second foal because she's foaling. She's had two. There you are. She'll have another couple for you. And we'll all make, and then every foal when they grow up is worth 10,000 Polish spanduliks.
Right.
But the foal misses the mother for about a couple of days, and then it's just like, oh well, she's gone now. Grand.
Yeah.
And that's the way I see some of these non-dual people.
Is there just to finish that? Does the foal just end up fine? Like there's no, like if you had a foal in the 2 years, someone doesn't care. They work out the same.
Doesn't matter. Absolutely doesn't. The foal is
he doesn't get an emo haircut. No. Start wearing a leather jacket.
No. The foal whose mother stays on the ranch and the foal whose mother's gone, they both end up being totally well-adjusted horses. Fine. Right. No, absolutely no problem at all. I find out with these lads as well. There was a Buddhist podcast I got big into, and he had a thing fairly early on talking about how, like, you'll have no desires, you'll never want to have sex. When someone dies, you will have good and bad memories of them, but it won't affect you in the same way that the other mourners at a funeral would. And I was like, why would I want that? I don't want that. Yeah. I want to have feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to be a human. I am a human.
This is the thing with this, like, they'll talk about this ego crushing or ego, what do they call it? Not dismissal. Ego destruction. Like, hold on now. You need your ego, otherwise you wouldn't get out of bed in the morning, because you just sit there just going, I'm awake, I am one with everything and everyone, I breathe with the flowers, I feel with the flowers.
I am the flower.
My roots go deep. I am the flower. My roots go deep as I rise up towards the sun and shine my shiny demonness.
And then I realised I am also the sun.
Yeah, great, that's cool and all, man. Yeah. But your 5-year-old needs cornflakes.
All 5-year-olds need cornflakes. Yeah.
It's no, you need your ego, of course, but it's about to use that thing is to find out. Look, the best Buddhist gurus and the Hindu gurus all talk about balancing the ego. They don't talk about getting rid of the ego.
Yeah, or getting rid of desire or any of that.
This is some weird Western thing that some idiot has come up with.
It's almost like a fucking Catholic look at this, like, let's whip ourselves while we're aware of awareness.
Look. Let's let's say that is it. The ego is the cause of most of our problems. It is, but if you can rein it in, then you'd be all right. I mean, come on. I mean, I still have plenty of ego issues. Yeah. I'm not near where I
want to be.
No, I don't think I am. No, maybe I am. No, look, my life is as good as it has ever been.
Right? I think it's okay to say that I have ego issues without thinking you're a shitty person, which I think.
Yeah. Okay, so but we all do. But it's like, it's just kind of seeing that, like, if how to explain? No, you don't want to use wishy-washy language. Oh, if you just balance the ego with it's just saying, right, this is who I am. I'm going to work on myself and try and make myself better, but then, like, as you go along, and if you follow these steps of Magia or Buddhist meditation or whatever, and as you do Golden Dawn, whatever the fuck, TRG, whichever one it is, you'll see that, like, okay, actually, as much as I work on myself, I'm still the same at the core anyway. And that's just genetics. You can't fight that, But it's just accepting, right, that's who I am. And there's no point in, like, like for a long time, I had this thing in my therapy years ago where she was like, you have this thing with anger. And it's like, yeah, because, like, I see myself as, like, when I lose my temper, I turn into this fucking Hulk, and I'm just rah, 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 screaming at it. And she's like, yeah, but when someone fucks you over, what are you going to do? You're just going to lie back and take it? And I was like, well, no. Then, yeah, you need to get angry sometimes. It's totally fine to get angry as long as it's in the right proportion and in the right situations. And I just went, okay. Because usually what I've been doing is I totally deny my anger until I burst. And she said, no, that's very unhealthy. Okay.
All right, yeah.
Well,
all my friends do that too.
But everyone in Ireland does this. This is why we drink heavily and get in fights at night time. She said, no, that's wrong. This Poland is very interesting.
They should say this on the news, or maybe tell you it in school or something. That's mental. Imagine we don't have to do that. That mad.
But Tommy, to come back to surrendering, even that can be seen as surrendering. And just saying, this is the right time to be angry. I'm going to surrender to it.
Yeah.
Allow the thing. See, I like this idea of that we have the 12 personalities. I think that's a brilliant idea to go with. And I know that Uber Boyo talks about the 2. And there's a good video from your man now. What's his first name? Weber. What's his first name?
Gary Weber.
Gary Weber. Who the fuck is Mark Weber? I have no idea. So,
no, there's definitely a Mark Weber, because I know that.
There's definitely one out there somewhere. Yeah.
No. I mean, I've read a book. I definitely think I've read a Mark Weber book or something. Yeah.
So Gary Weber talks about this experiment that they did where they have proven that the neurons that control motion.
The fire before you the thought or something.
They work faster than the thought to move your hand. Okay, so one part of your brain there's a tennis ball flying at you. Right, the part of your brain that has moved your hand to stop the tennis ball works faster than you telling your hand
to do it,
to move in front of your face to stop a ball. But the thing is that, and I got this from Bernardo Kastrup from his thing as well, is that the reason that we do this is because, and he ties it into why myths are so important, is that like we're constantly doing stuff, but telling ourselves that we're in control of it. And so the tennis ball is coming to our face. Oh, I put my hand up to stop it. No, you didn't. You didn't do that. Well, you did do it.
Yeah,
but
your body did. Your brain did.
Your body did. But the thing that you think you're in control of, no, that didn't do that. Or the thing you are in control of, you are in control of moving your hand, but the other part of your brain actually moved your hand.
The part of your brain that is allowing you to breathe, before I just said breathing, that now you're aware you're breathing, but the part of the brain that was doing that is the thing. That's the thing. Yeah, there's an interesting experiment as well. Where they show you images of like pornographic images or violence, or a flower that thinks it's the sun, whatever is the thing. But your brain reacts before you see the image. There's like a split second.
Crazy.
Yeah, which it's like Sam Harris would say, And Gary Weber would say that this points to predeterminism.
Yeah.
So that you're here to witness these things, not to do them. So it's Matrix 2 kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, there's a great kind of relief in predeterminism because it means every mistake I ever made wasn't, it was just me. That's what I had to do, man. But and there's a great surrender that can be had in predeterminism. But again, it's allowing life to happen at you and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, I don't know. The thing that I got from the dream and the parsimony thing was that there's resources is that you're forgetting you're a fucking magician. And remember we were talking about the elements and we're going with the different parts, or you fill in all these buckets or whatever. So it's going, well, I'm definitely filling the spiritual bucket, not really doing well on the physical thing at all. I need to work on that. I definitely need to work on that. The kind of, emotional, mental kind of stuff. Well, I was working out with therapy and, that's part of the whole thing. But the actual, what do you want from life? Tommie, what's going on with him? What's his hopes, his dreams, his thing? I dropped years ago. I just let that be dictated to me by life. And it's, I think, my reading of it, and I'm open to other suggestions, is that it's saying,
but tell me, if that was true, man, you wouldn't be doing comment. Not that you're lying, but I think you've told yourself. But then you'd never bother doing your comics or your albums or anything like that, like.
Yeah, but the problem is that there weren't conscious decisions. There were things that I just allowed to happen. Like I didn't, like that, especially say with that last album or something. It's hard to explain because it's not that either. But it's also, it felt like that wasn't my decision. That was, that was just going with the flow or going with the thing rather than whatever. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But obviously, there's part of me that has made decisions and stuff like that. But I think as an overall team, I'm too reliant on seeing what happens. Just, let the world tell me what I am. Let the thing, and there's kind of, which is, that's part of it. It's definitely part of it. But there's also, there has to be part of it where I have to tell the world what I am too. Or not, and that kind of thing. And I know that sounds really weird, given the guy who's been fucking doing podcasts talking to people for the last 5 years. But it's the underlying idea behind it rather than necessarily the action. Is possibly what I'm pointing at. But I totally get your point and your criticism on that it doesn't sound like, but there's also something I can't explain in it that I also know is true. Yeah. Even if it's just a ratio the ratio's too like if the ratio of what I've decided to do compared to what I've allowed life to be, say that's 10%, and all that I've done with that 10%, think how fucking cool I'd be if I bumped that up to 90 and actually took the reins of my life and decided that I was going to do all these things. No, but there's a thing in that feels that I shouldn't do that. That's a wrong move. That that you have to, in the Magia sense, that there's that thing that knows you better than you know yourself. You should let it decide. Yeah. It's like, no,
because I think,
don't know, man.
No, I think there's a. How to explain this? Look, I see this with my father-in-law. I see it a bit with my own man as well. Maybe it's just a generational thing, but you can see that they kind of fight against the world, and it kind of seems that they have to work hard to progress in doing what they're doing, and it's kind of like because they kind of plan maybe a lot ahead, So say, just for example, on Tuesday the concrete is coming. So that means then on Thursday then I need the builders to come in and flatten it all back down again. And then the following Monday. But then when something goes wrong along the way, they kind of lose it, because the house of cards falls immediately, right? But see, I kind of see that as like you're fighting too much against the world because you can't. Look, it's crappy that Johnny didn't turn up for work today, but his kid's in hospital, her leg actually fell off. Stop shouting at him. No, but for example, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
but is it the case that he thinks, because it's a thing I fell for and had to stop, is that, and let's go back to the coffee machine, that it's not that the coffee machine is out of milk, out of water, out of coffee beans, whatever. It's that this means something bigger in my life. It's not that Johnny didn't turn up today. This means
I don't think he'd put that type of meaning on it that way.
Right, okay.
But I think he would see the world as constantly letting him down, so he has to do everything.
Well, that's what I mean. There's a bigger team to it. It's not Johnny not turning up. It's fucking life that's doing this again.
Yeah, it's everyone is useless except me, is the way he'd see it. You know what I mean? Which is just wrong. You can't look at the world
Well, I mean,
that,
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Completely.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely
exactly.
Because he will constantly, and I know it. I know he will because I've done similar things. He's going to prove that to himself every day.
Yeah,
that's true.
And like the thing is, it's like, for example, building a house as an example. The house will get built. Okay, it'll be 2 or 3 weeks later than you expected, but like, man, you're going to be alive for another 30, 40 years. It's grand. You know, what's 2 weeks? Do you know what I mean? Like, man, but like, man, it took me an awful lot of work to get to that stage. Like, I fought against the world a lot.
Yeah.
I literally used to write on my fucking copybooks. I used to write Spud against the world or Spud versus the world. I used to write that in fucking stupid graffiti on my copybooks. I used to write Spud against the world because that's how I saw it. That I saw the world as a shit place where I had to fix everything. You know?
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's how messed up I was. You know? But now I'm just like, that's when I was a kid. That was at school. What the fuck is wrong with me? Most fellas are off trying to kiss girls or smoke hash, and I'm there going, I need to fix the world because it's wrong.
Someone on the internet is wrong.
What an idiot. We didn't have internet back then.
Yeah.
You know? Like, just
someone under graffiti in the bathroom is wrong.
But you know what the flip of that is? The flip of that is this ego inflation of seeing yourself as being this hugely important thing that can change the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm nobody.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? When you see it,
It's just, yeah. But like, it took me an awful long time to get to that point where I saw it. Is that like, oh shit, actually, I'm not that important. That's brilliant. Okay. Actually, no one is watching me. No one is watching me except me.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, hold on. I don't have to fix all of this.
And now I'll work on being so harsh on myself. Okay, cool. And like, yeah, just step by step, just fucking trying to be decent. But like, yeah, it's a see you next Tuesday to get there. You know, it's tough work, but you know, if an idiot like me can do it, you know, everyone can.
Yeah.
You know? Look, man, this is what got me doing the whole awakening trying thing. Is that I read those Baptist Head books and I went, right, if these lads can do it, I can't too. And
which is like, literally what their motto was. If other people can do it, why can't I fucking do it?
But like, this is a thing. This is me and you have a difference with stuff like this as well, on kind of authority figures in that. Like, remember we were talking about Crowley or something, and doing Crowley's Star Ruby to the letter of the law, and you said something like, it wasn't when we were doing it. It's not that long ago actually, and you were like, you were saying to me that, well, no, Crowley has authority, you know. But like in my head, I'm like, I didn't. He's read more books than me, but the way I have to see the world is that, like, I have to have the most authority on how I see the world. I have to, because I'm living my experience.
Sure.
You get me?
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I have the most authority on how I view the world. You know, I'm wrong a lot of the time, so.
Okay, you know, Peter Kingsley knows more about Parmenides than I do. Cool. I'll go to him when I need to know more about him. But it doesn't mean that he can tell me how to do this, that, or just because he says something in a book doesn't mean I have to follow the letter to the law. Just using him as an example, right? Because he comes up now and again.
Because he's easy to pick.
Yeah. Look, I'm looking forward to the book that's coming out.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Have you pre-ordered?
No, I'll read it. Look,
but it's not for us, man. It's for people hundreds of years in the future. Come on, it's not for you.
Well, you know what? If Duncan Barford isn't bringing out his Liber Somnia book, you know, and that's not. Then I may as well read this one. I just want to talk about
the thing with Crowley and the authority and stuff like that, and I kind of define what I mean by that. He's authority because he knows so much. He's an authority in that thing, and I have an authority. I know so much, or whatever. And it was particularly, I think we were talking around about teaching and stuff like that. It's that it's not that I don't feel I don't have authority to teach. It's that I don't know enough to teach, and that I don't mean that in a kind of a humble way. I'm not qualified in the way, and because what could I tell people other than I don't know the answer? Here's a load of books that I read that didn't lead me to knowing the answer. Where you go? You know, but whereas Crowley did think he knew the answer. So that's the difference. And so he came from a place of, I'm not trying to fool you. This is the answer as far as I'm concerned.
Of course.
That's kind of it. I think that's kind of it.
That is it.
Yeah,
but the problem there with that example is that Crowley wasn't enlightened. There's no fucking way he was enlightened. He wasn't.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know.
But on that same point as well, like when the Buddha was teaching, he was like, "Look, this is it. Like this is how you do it."
Yeah.
But like the single most important thing is to fucking ask yourself questions. That, you know.
Yeah,
but he's like self-inquiry, ask questions. Don't believe me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You told people, don't believe me. Do it yourself. You know.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
I get it.
That's what every teacher should do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I suppose to come back to it again, and surrendering for me is just kind of just letting go of a bit of control and letting go of it bit by bit. Now, you know, you're driving on the motorway 100 I think I was 170 at one stage yesterday, and I went, "Oh shit, car's gone a little bit too fast there. I wasn't really paying attention."
Start to do this thing.
that's supposed to happen. And I went, "No, but like when you're driving on a highway and other people's lives are literally dependent on you, then you don't surrender control. You're in control of the car. You know, you have to drive properly and see. And so, like, we're like." Gary Webber comes in there. Mark again. Sorry.
Mark Webber's a football player, isn't he? Is that not who he is?
Fucking clue, man. I don't know where he's coming from. So Gary there would say like, "Oh, well, you know, if I was in a crash and they all died, actually, you know, it didn't mean that much to me anyway." Fuck yourself. That's bollocks.
Yeah. Bollocks.
Do you know?
And I don't think he's lying. I think he believes that, and I think that would be his reaction. I just think, oh, God, why would you think that? Why would you present that as something good that people would want?
Yeah.
You know?
Wasn't what's his name? The Buddhist book. The bald guy. What's the name? The doctor. The Buddhist tome that we've read.
Oh, Daniel Ingram's.
Didn't he have a group of people who set out to kill all their feelings and ego? Didn't he have something to do with that?
I'm not sure. It's not ringing any bell, but it doesn't. I'm no expert on Ingram.
I think I read something about him on one of the Buddhist forums, but he left it after a couple of years because people like just lost their minds and stuff.
Oh, right, yeah, no, I do know what you're on, but yeah, it was some new technique or something, and then he thought this was the future, and then he went, no, it turns out this isn't the future. This was
they all turned into psychopaths or something, you know what I mean? Just like no feelings and just like, Jesus, fuck that. No, but this is the thing that I think that these guys get wrong, is that, like, okay, so I'm in the car yesterday, driving them home, trying to get everyone back alive. That's your ego saying, right, I have to do this. This is on me. I'm the driver. Make sure everyone's safe. Make sure everyone gets to stop for toilets. Doesn't get sick. Yada, yada. I look after everyone. And grand. You know. And then my reward was sit in front of the telly and just go, you know, after fucking 7 hours of stressful driving and Polish holidays.
Biscuit coma. Sugar coma. Diabetic coma. Yeah.
So like it's just kind of knowing when to do which.
So I tell you,
I still don't know all the answers, Tommy. You know
what I take from it, and what I think is that surrender, me like the letting go bit thing, right? Fine, I can do that, but letting go of control and all that—that's with you. But I think what I do is then hand it over to something else, and I think that's the problem. But that other thing is also me in a sense, because you know, and it's But and the example, so yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm going to decide. I'm going to, I suppose, decide what I want, go for it, and if it doesn't happen, then that's the letting go or whatever, rather than letting all of that go.
Yeah, I think the way you're talking about it, I think you're kind of handing it over to chance rather than handing it over to, for want of a better word, God, universe.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't suit you, but I can't. I don't see what the difference is in a sense. Can you explain the difference? Well, I mean, I know what the chance is compared to Divinity, but I don't know what does that practically look like. What's the practical difference in doing that?
Oh Jesus, that is, whoa, that's $1 million question, isn't it? What's the difference between handing it over to chance and handing it over to the universe? God, it doesn't sound like there's much of a difference, does it? How do I explain this? So if you're if you're handing it over to the universe, you're kind of expecting the best of what's going to come at you, yeah. And you've got my back here. There's some big decisions, say for example, and you're saying, right, look, I'm not gonna decide on this now. I'm gonna wait a week, kind of read any signs that happen around me, and then I'll make up my mind that way. Whereas if you did it with just letting chance happen, then you just say, Spud, what should I do with this? Sorry, I muted there. Someone was calling me. Am I back?
Yeah.
Then it would just be, you would just say, you turn to someone, family, friends, and you just say, what should I do with this? And then they tell you, and then go on with that advice. That's taking it with chance.
Yeah.
Whereas with the first one, you're saying, all right, I'm not sure here. Maybe if you can help me out here, give me some signs, or maybe I'll see something.
Yeah. I see. The thing is, if you can help me out here, or whatever. What I find is when I surrender, is I don't get the thing, because I probably have a Catholic guilt of thing. I don't deserve the thing. Shouldn't have the thing. It's better not to have the thing. Suffering is better than thing. So it'd be like handing over. What my experience handing over to divine is, it leads to suffering. It leads to not getting the thing. It leads to a harder life. It leads to, it'll be better for you in the long run not to get this. But there's never any good long run. You know what I mean? It's like you could be happy today. We could do that, but that means you're not learning. You know, I have a fucking shitty thing in my head that you can only learn through crap and, you know, suffering and whatever. And I know that's mostly true, but it's not true. You know, but I think that I suppose it's just that sense of it's better to suffer. Isn't that shitty? Isn't that like that? That's so Catholic. Like that's embedded in this dumb brain of mine. I think that's my problem. I think surrender means that I'm allowing suffering. That's what I'm allowing the suffering.
Yeah, I get you. Surrender for you is this type of suffering. But it's like, did you share a video on Discord? Your man Rupert Spira. Mm-hmm. He said that it was along the lines of that. What was it? Well, it's a Buddhist thing as well. It's that like, okay, so suffering is an illusion, but you need to suffer a lot until you get to the point where you can see what it actually is. Do you know? Yeah. So I don't know, Tommy. Maybe there's no, but like, so what could there be? Like, no, because if you can point it out and you see it, and you've named the problem. That's supposed to be the biggest banishing of a problem, is seeing it and naming it. Right, I know what it is.
Finding it.
I gotcha. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Why hasn't it clicked with you, or why hasn't it clicked with something in you rather than you, an ego thing? Why hasn't that led to an insight where it's like, oh, it's the same thing? Right,
because I think it's true. Right. I think that's the nature of existence. Now, I also logically don't, you know, I mean, I can argue the other side of that or whatever, but I think on an emotional thing, I feel that's true. I feel it's true. So therefore, it's hard to get past or find something that you think is the truth.
No, yeah, of course, yeah.
So that's like it's because I think that is the see, and this is my problem. This is what I was saying. I know we're going around in circles now, so we'll close up. Is that what I end up doing is I'm surrendering to my shadow, right? Mm-hmm. And well, I mean, no, my shadow's divine too. All of that kind of wishy-washy stuff. But that's what's happening. So it's just something I have to work on. It's just like, I mean, it's definitely helpful talking it all out. But
it's just trying to flip it, man. It's just trying to flip it around and say, no, this isn't what it is. It's the opposite. You know.
But I think that the kind of thing that back to the unknown resources and stuff like that is in a sense to try, and there's a point where I have to take control of it and defy the God in a sense and go, I'm going to do my own thing for a while. And it's a bit left-hand pad, all that kind of stuff. But I think it's in order to get that switch, I kind of have to.
But that's all right. No, but that's a good thing, because if you're saying that, no, actually, you know, most of the time I've been giving this over to this higher ideal, but it's been fucking me over.
Yeah.
It's a kind of let's call it a shadow, okay? So you've been surrendering it to the shadow, whereas that, like, you know deep down that, like, no, the shadow is an arsehole. I want to go with this one. So it's seeing, right, okay, no, you're not fucking me over anymore. I'm turning me back on you and going the other way. But, like, it's just trying to trick yourself all the time into seeing it. Yeah. It's really hard. Yeah. No, it is. Like,
it is. No, I know. Tell me about it.
You know, it's you've had one way of looking at life for 40 odd years. Yeah, and then you wake up one day and say, fuck. Yeah. I'm wrong.
Yeah. But it's still because I think Angry Sky God, you know, that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah. At the end of it. So I suppose from a chaos magic point of view, the thing is to work with that. If that's my strongest belief, then that's the agency of my magic. You know, so that within that paradigm, what are the things that are true that I can work with? And that's what I have to kind of work out. Realizing that that's what it is. That the most power, I suppose, is Angry Sky God. You know, and what, you know, do I have to sit around and appease him? Do I have to, you know, eat fish on a Friday? Jesus Christ!
I think
no, I don't. I don't think that. Like,
yeah.
I'm just being facetious.
Plus in the shadow, it's that the shadow is overshadowing you, so you gotta rein it in, you know. Walk to the light, Tommie. If you stand right under the light, Tommie, your shadow is gone. You know, because he's under your feet.
And then you realise, you know, you are the sun.
There you
and
go.
it never left you in the first place.
You were shining in and without. The sun is coming out of your bumhole.
Before we finish, I just want to make a point about the Magia stuff, in the sense of what we were saying that that non-dual teaching, and that you should give up, you know, if your daughter dies, all that. Alan Chapman says, when you're not doing the binding and unbinding, be a normal fucking human being. Get sad when your mother dies and all that. So he's not. I just want to. He's definitely not saying that.
No. He's not like Weber or that Buddhist podcast. Yeah. No. Let's not paint him like that at all. Like, there was something else I was going to say. Look, a little bit about the dream that you had there about your resources. I remember I put up something on Twitter a while ago about a dream I had where I was on a game show and I kept getting every answer right. You know, and I was like, I haven't a fucking clue what this means. But Barford came on and says, well, this means that it's obvious. Like you know all the answers. You know, this is a little bit the same here. It's like you know what it is here, Tommie. Yeah. But it's just kind of. It's getting your, I know it is. It's getting your thoughts in order on it as well. I was stuck on this as well, this surrender thing for a while. I had to talk to loads of people because I just didn't get it. I'm like, surrendering what? What am I doing here? Like, am I giving up? Am I giving up my life here? And I'm just going to be like, I'm just going to sit around and just, you know, or I'm just going to live in a mountain and get my water from a river and hope that a sheep hasn't died up around the bend and I don't die of E. coli. You know what I mean? Is that surrendering? Is that surrendering? I just let nature happen and I don't cut my toenails. Do you know? Is that surrendering? No, of course that's not surrendering. Don't be ridiculous. You know what I mean? Of course it isn't. That's a straw man kind of look on it. But it's picking and shit. But it's that type of surrendering is to some kind of weird alter ego controls something, you know? Whereas that if it's true to your God, to your universe, to your higher self, to your HGA, to whoever you want to call it, that's different. Because that thing is what you deep down know is for the betterment of yourself, kind of thing, you know? Yeah, and I mean, obviously I can recognize, because I mean the awakening experience I had has been, I suppose, better described as recognizing rather than awakening. It's just like, oh yeah, that thing there, see it there, yeah. Oh yeah, that's always been there. Hello. I recognize you. Exactly. Yeah. I had a mad one the other day on a horse. We were going up. I was on one of these 3-hour treks, and we were going up this. We were coming out of. We had done 2 mountains. We were coming out the third mountain, you know. And it was just gorgeous down there. It's like, for any Irish person, it's a bit like Wicklow, except way more deserted. Lots of hills, valleys, trees, you know, nature, blah blah. Coming up this horse, and I just had this thing, and I'm like, oh, holy shit! Now, wait a second. Like, we're all. I tried to tweet it the other day and it didn't come out properly in words. So I'll try again.
Ooga booga, schmoog moog, schmank schmack.
I think you like the tweet.
Have you had a stroke?
And Nugan did as well. So it's basically this idea that, like, wait a minute, like, oh shit, the Big Bang hasn't stopped. Like, it's still going and evolving, and we're all still experiencing it consciously because that's when consciousness started. So our consciousness is still the evolvingness of the Big Bang, and it's all being done individually as people in our meat skeleton bodies, and we're all doing this as together. No, we're all doing this individually, but we're also all doing this together because we're all connected to this thing that's happening. Fuck. And I'm in the back of a horse trying not to fall off. So I said it to one of the lads, and he's like, well, was she a mayor? I was like, yeah, she was a mayor. And who else was led by mayors? I was like, I have no idea. So he sent me a poem. Parmenides.
Right, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Peter Kingsley. Yeah. There you are. Well, not mad. That was a mad thing, because he got that sync. I didn't get that sync at all. Like, you know.
Yeah, you should probably read some Kingsley.
I know, I will read it. When I have money, I'll buy the books. It's just, you know, with the houses and the ranch stuff going on at the minute, I don't have all the money's gone into that. So, no, I will. I'll get around to Kingsley. Hopefully by next summer the house will be ready, and then I can start.
Well, it's fine because there's new one, as you said. It's not, you know, you have hundreds of years before that's relevant. Then, so you have plenty of time. Right, Spud. That's an hour and a half. I think. Are
you feeling better? Do you think have we got to this? I don't know if we have got to it.
No, I have an expansive view on what it is. No, I definitely it is. I'm saying that not that I necessarily understand it, man, but I have a better picture of it. You know, like, I mean, I know, I definitely know where you come from, and I understand it. Where, and then I have stuff to work with. So yeah, the answer is yeah, of course, yeah. No, that was good. Very Tommie's brain. Yeah, it was good. It was good. That's as far as my brain will work at the minute. You know, it was yeah. Yeah, so I will put that Tim Freak Gary Webber interview in the thing. Like, don't watch it. Like, it's definitely a train wreck of an interview.
I really like him though. I like Webber, and
so do I. So don't.
I don't like that he has that view of things. I don't like that. I don't like that about this. About some of these people who have this thing that just killing the ego and having no feelings. I don't.
It's a bit Spock, isn't it? Like, you know?
Man, life's for living. You know, life's for living and for experiencing. And if, like, that means we should experience grief and sadness as well. Do you know? Yeah. Not all about just being like, oh, well, I see that. I am the witness to that. I am the witness to that. I see that.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying that being human is it's a massive mistake. let's try to get away. You know, it's a very Gnostic view in kind of sense of that it's, you know, being human is the bad thing. You know, and that we should try to get away from it because, like. Whereas Tim, I think, is more saying, well, like, yeah, all of that, and then come back. Come back to Gary. Why is Gary?
Yeah.
What's the point of that? Yeah. Why did it all happen to end up being Gary? Not to get rid of Gary, because that's stupid. Why would that happen? You spend all of this resources, Big Bang, everyone's evolving to a point of Gary, where Gary goes, well, I don't want to be Gary.
Ion is standing there looking down and just going,
Gary.
Idiot. Gary's going to Gary.
Nice one.
Bye, Tommie.
Right. Bye.